I would use it more often.
You'd be a star, though. You'd get a star.
All right, I'll call the Public Works Committee meeting to order. And we'll start with Resolution 1090 by Councilman Syracuse and others, authorizes the Director of Public Property or his designee to exercise option agreements for the purchase of various flood-prone properties for Metro Water Services. And I'm on the resolution, so I will move approval.
Second.
Any discussion?
Just if we're here, what are we? This is several relatively small grants. I noticed. Where are we in the total program? Years away from finish.
Councilman, I can answer the first part of that question, but let you know, you're right, there are 3 associated pieces of legislation before you. The one that we're talking about now is the one that we're purchasing homes on, I think it's Miami Avenue, that area of Pennington Bend, and that is being paid for out of Metro funds. That was the $5 million that's been approved previous by council. As far as the status on the overall, I'd have to get back with you, let you know exactly where that's at.
But that $5 million balance, has that been drawn down pretty well at this point, or is there a lot of firepower left?
Yeah, we're not close to the end of that, so we're fine on these. We'll just have to get you a balance on that, and then also just kind of an overall where we are in the program. But
well, I guess that would be useful given capital budgeting going forward. Do we have enough? Does this program really have the right authorization for FY19 too? Before we get to it, that would be useful.
Yes, sir.
Or whether we need to re-up for 19 for this particular program to keep going. That'd be great.
If Tom were here today, he'd probably spout off numbers out to you.
Okay, thank you.
I know that we're fine on that budget now, and we'll just have to give you a balance on that $5 million. But also, the intent is to move forward, continue to move forward with this program. As you'll see in the next piece of legislation, we're leveraging federal dollars where we can. So,
Thank you.
yes,
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
And we recommend approval. Resolution 1092 by Councilman Cooper and others, authorizing an application for a flood mitigation assistance grant from the state, TEMA, and to Metro Water and Sewer Services for flood mitigation. And I would move approval.
Second.
Any discussion?
You started without me?
Yes, sorry. The world does turn.
I have a question. Is there ever anything for, I know we do a lot of work with flood mitigation. Do we ever have grants for just allowing for floods?
Flood acceptance.
Just
flood acceptance.
Just recovery.
Just recovery.
Are you looking to do like controlled burns in the forest fire scenario?
Yeah, that type of thing. I just wonder whether if you hit water with water, whether it actually does anything. I don't know, maybe can we have?
I think Larry's probably got a quarry. He would probably be happy with that. Yes.
Sorry.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
And we recommend approval. Resolution 1093 by Council Lady Virtue and others approves an application for a hazard mitigation grant from the state Tennessee Emergency Management Association to the Metro Water for flood mitigation. And I would move approval.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
We recommend approval. Resolution 1094, Council Lady Virtue authorizes Metro Water to enter into a utility relocation contract number 8756 with TDOT to construct State Route 11 Nolensville Road from north of Mill Creek to near State Route 254 located in Davidson County, Tennessee. And I would move approval.
I really like this one.
Second.
I have a question, Chairman.
Yes, ma'am.
This one does not have any detailed map. Is there any map of the area on how exactly the project will work?
It's defined in text by, it's Nolensville Pike from Old Hickory to basically Bluff Road. And so it doesn't necessarily have a map with it. It's a state contract, but it does have the text limits as to the limits of the project. And essentially, Council Lady, it's the state's going to widen the road. So part of that project, we then have to adjust water lines, sewer lines, and there's actually 3 pieces of legislation associated with this. One's water, one's sewer, and the other one is going to be an easement. And only in the case of water is the city actually putting money into it, but only because we're going to upsize the line from an 8-inch line to a 16-inch line. So it's a great opportunity to improve our infrastructure. All the other things you'll see in the contracts is that we are reimbursed for the easement and for the sewer adjustments because of the widening. But it does mention the limits.
Sorry, Chair. I think the drawings are on the TDOT website of the project, and I
I
think
see.
they include some of the infrastructure. I don't know with the detail that you will have, but it's online, and my district is very happy.
So you're happy?
Begging
Then I'm
for
happy for
widening
you.
of the road. We have a traffic problem in Nashville. So.
Yeah.
So this is, so TDOT is reimbursing us for the relocation of the utilities except for the upgrade, correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
All right, gotcha.
So you see that on the water park, they're gonna have money into it. We will have money in it, but we're simply paying for the upgrade, the upgrade or the upsize.
Gotcha.
When will the project start?
That's why I don't have that information with me tonight, but
If you can please let me know so I can let people know to expect
absolutely.
truck road issues.
Could you start like tomorrow?
Yes.
Sure.
There you go.
Does that mean you're gonna shut off the water for the duration of the project? Maybe you want that to wait till after your.
Yeah,
That flood mitigation
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
We're not gonna, we don't wanna do that.
yeah. All right.
I'll have to get you that date.
All right, for resolution 1094, all those in favor?
Aye.
We recommend approval. We're on to resolution 1097 by Council Lady Virtue and others, authorizing Metro Water to enter into utility easement contract number 8761 with TDOT to construct State Route 11 Nolensville Pike with, from north of Mill Creek to near State Route 254 located in Davidson County. And I would move approval.
Second.
I should say.
I'm sorry, you said second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we recommend approval. Resolution 1096 by Council Lady Virtue and others authorizes 3 amendments to 3 agreements between Metro and TDEC concerning maintenance of closed solid waste disposal facilities.
So moved.
Second.
Second, any discussion?
Yep. Is this 96? No, it's 98.
We're on 96.
96.
What is the maintenance of closed solid waste disposal facility?
Everything is closed down. We entered into a Superfund agreement with the state, so for 30 years, basically what this does is if we don't keep them in repair or in good shape, then they can call on this contract to get their money back from us. It's just making sure they're mowed, that nothing washes off of the cap, that at any time nothing's exposed, nothing's leaking out of the landfill. It's just that kind of thing. Because they're all 3 closed and have been closed for over a decade.
Were they hours?
Yes, they were.
Okay.
Now, do we have to bond this?
No, it's
Okay.
just a contractual agreement. It doesn't have a letter of credit or a bond or anything.
Thank you.
All those in favor? Aye. We recommend approval. Resolution 1098 by Council Lady Dow and others approves an intergovernmental agreement between TDOT and Metro Public Works for the acceptance of traffic signals in connection with construction at the interchange of I-24 exit 60 at Hickory Hollow Parkway. And I would move approval.
Second.
Are these new traffic lights?
Yes, sir. Three new traffic signals and some pedestrian lighting associated with it.
Is it in connection with the Century Farms or this?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Nice. You will do the traffic study?
I believe that to be the case.
Okay.
I'm
And
not
this is,
familiar with the study itself.
okay, but the authorization for this is in fulfillment of the traffic study.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We recommend approval. All right, ordinance 1099 by Councilman Bednay and others approves an intergovernmental agreement between TDOT and Metro Public Works for the acceptance of traffic signal improvements in connection with construction at the I-24 interchange at Old Orchard Boulevard, exit 62 eastbound ramp. And I would move approval.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. We recommend approval. Ordinance 1100 by Council Lady Virtue and others authorizing Metro Water to enter into a utility relocation contract number 8755 with TDOT to construct State Route 11 Nolensville Pike from north of Mill Creek to near State Route 254 located in Davidson County. And I would move approval.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
And we recommend approval. All right, we are on ordinance 1075 by Council Lady Murphy, abandoning existing sanitary sewer main and easements for property located at 4101 Ridgefield Drive, and I would move approval.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
And we recommend approval.
Stand up.
Ordinance 1120 abandons a portion of Hadley Road right-of-way. And I would move approval. Seconded?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. And we recommend approval. Yes, ma'am.
I just want to ask a question. I did ask a question at the planning yesterday. I think we don't have historical report from historical commission. So I know it's only 1 mile, but I feel comfortable just before we approve.
Bill?
Reading the report from the historical commission before we approve. So in the
On 1120?
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, we did that. That was it.
11:13.
I don't have 1113 on
Oh,
here.
sorry, I was ahead.
I don't have ordinance 1113 on the agenda.
11:13.
Is that the Charlotte Pike?
Yeah, Charlotte Pike.
I thought it was going to be on here too, but I don't have it on here.
It says
13
refer to
is
public works.
on the agenda.
Yeah.
It's on,
Yeah, refer to planning, zoning, public works, and traffic, parking,
I
transportation.
guess we'll have to get to it next week. I don't have it on our agenda for some reason.
Okay. And that's the
Well,
MLK.
it's on the agenda for, on the floor.
Without objection, we'll take it up before third reading. Is that okay? Is that all right with everybody?
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
I would really like for it to be heard.
Well, it can still be heard on the floor. It just has to be approved by committee before third
Yeah.
reading. And it was,
Committee at the
yeah,
third
we'll hear before. We're not holding it up as far as it passing on second reading. It
Okay.
just come before Public Works. For some reason, it's not on the agenda. I don't know why, but because I thought it was going to be on here. I didn't even.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
It's on the. It's on
Must be some
the
glitch.
council agenda.
We'll talk about it.
Talk about 1113.
Yep. Ordinance 1113, an ordinance to amend GIS Street and Alley center line later for Metro Nashville and Davidson County by changing the name of a portion of Charlotte Avenue to Dr. M.L. King Jr. Boulevard.
I'll move to.
We have a second. I'll second
Anybody
it.
second? Yeah.
I'll second it. All right, go
I will
ahead.
abstain for the reason I stated.
Okay, all right. I don't have a problem naming, this is, let me start. I'm not opposed to the ordinance. I have because I will think that it's pretty much a travesty that we as a city have taken us 50 years from the death of Dr. King, that we're taking this daggum long to name something after him. The location is something that I'm worried about. One is the location of naming a street that our state capital is on for a non-Tennessean. But I think it also needs to be part of a larger conversation as far as, and I'll say this on the floor, I'm voting for the ordinance, is that I want to also us have streets named for people from the 50s and 60s that advanced civil rights, not just for our city, but in the South, that are from Nashville as well, beyond just Dr. King. Like, John Lewis, Diane Nash, because I think for some folks, Dr. King is so aspirational, is almost mythical for a lot of folks, particularly, folks in their, 30s, 20s, or even teens, that they need to, I think, also recognize that people in the city have done a lot, and therefore they can do a lot too.
And I agree, 100%.
So I'm not going to hold it up. I just want to express that sentiment that this is not enough for me.
Right, and of course you know that the legislation is people like Diane Nash and John Lewis must be non-living in order for us to name a street after them. And I do appreciate everything that you're saying, and I'm also appreciative of the preservation of the name in which it has right now. But if we look at where we're going, Nashville is a melting pot, and we're talking about international. We're bringing 100 people here, and people know Dr. King as the iconic figure that he is. And being that he was assassinated in the state of Tennessee, I believe that it's very fitting, and I think it's a step in the way of healing this state from east to west by doing this. The governor's office actually has called me, and they have no problem with it at all. And they were the ones that suggested that it was perfect timing if we would just wait until the
change of
election.
the- yep.
Therefore, all of the letterhead and the business cards and everything was going to change. So, and of course, I had no problems with that. So I appreciate your comments and as well as yours. I did speak to a couple of members of the Historic Commission, and they basically do not take a position, but they do research, and they will provide that. But I do know that they had a meeting yesterday, and they discussed it, and they did not have any opposition. And that will come before the third reading.
Right, so, yeah, just my hope is it would be nice to have those prior to the committee meeting, so we have, meaningful discussion with the recommendation or historical, input from the committee.
Yes, I think
That would
they
be
will, and
helpful.
I might add that the Planning Commission has already approved, and the Emergency Communications Dispatch has approved, and we will be hearing from his.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not opposition, but just wanna be safe side.
Thank you.
Because we have to, Mike, I think we have to get that report before third reading. Is that
7
correct?
days before, you'll have it next Tuesday.
And it's supposed to, it'll be in the planning committee next meeting, correct?
No, planning committee already passed it
Okay.
yesterday.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. My apologies.
And if I could just add that the original place that we wanted it, the council member was not really, the place that had been suggested to me by a constituent, Lucas Leverett, and the councilman was not comfortable at that, with that location. So it was suggested, and we thought about it, and Councilman O'Connell, I want to thank for the support in supporting the legislation and co-sponsoring it to the Charlotte Avenue. And it's 13 and a half miles, and only 1 mile is being impacted. And it has less impact on residents and businesses abroad than any other place.
Because that's the only part that's under city control is because the state route starts, where is it, under the interstate?
The
Is that-
interstate, yes.
Or the train tracks?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's the interstate.
Yeah, so, which is interesting. All right, any further discussion? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? And we recommend approval.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, ma'am.
Where are you going?
And Council Lady Henderson is not here, but we're looking at March 29th, having a committee meeting of Public Works to go over walking bike issues, funding, that kind of thing, to get ready for the budget. I know everybody's aware of budget situation. There's going to be kind of a maintenance budget, it sounds like, but I still think we need to do a dive into some of the issues. If y'all have got anything, remind us what we had talked about being at that meeting. Is it over sidewalk funding and that kind of?
Yeah, so walk and bike, kind of an update of where we are, upcoming projects for the next year. If you have questions about funding, I know Councilmember Henderson has questions about costs related to sidewalks, new sidewalk construction, those kinds of things. And I would ask maybe that Chair Elrod, you send out an email just to council members asking for questions in advance.
Yeah.
So that we can be prepared with your answers during the meeting itself and not have to say, we'll get back to you on that.
And could you also add traffic calming, neighborhood traffic calming to that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I know that's something that I've been interested in because we didn't fund it in last year's budget, but we had it part of a supplemental. And I think we've got like 500,000, I think it is. I think, and it's going to go a long way. And that's a little bit of money that can go a long way in our district. So I'm going to talk some more about that as well. All right. And if anybody has anything else, any questions or anything else they want.
Resolution?
Pardon?
Mobile's not on?
It's probably in traffic and parking. We liked your presence, though.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Did we consider Bill 2018-1120?
Yes.
Okay.
We recommend approval. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, it's just 1113 that was not.
Okay, so
Which is
that was
strange
not
because
on.
it is correctly referred to us for the agenda.
Yeah. So I think it was just a typo. All right. Anything else? We'll stand adjourned. Thank you all.
Is there any